So if you're a long-time Civil 3D user, remember back to the time when we were able to import Google Earth data into our Civil 3D drawings. That was pretty slick, right? We could call up Google Earth and zoom into an area and pull in surface data and imagery, and then we could use that information to start a preliminary backdrop for maybe some early design that we were doing. Well, those days are long gone. We can't do that anymore, but now with InfraWorks 360 we can do something similar, and in fact even more than we could do with Google Earth import. So we're going to start here in InfraWorks 360, and I'm going to open the model builder. And let's just say we're working for a customer who wants to develop some land near the town of Ashland, Virginia, and our job is to maybe do some preliminary design to get some ideas what he can do with that piece of land. So I'll call up model builder and type in Ashland, VA. Hit the search icon and it takes me right into the town of Ashland. And right away I see the piece of property that he's interested in developing, which happens to be right in this area here. Okay, so I'll zoom in on that area just a bit. I'll give my model a name. I'll just call it Ashland, or if I've got a project name I can call it that. Choose a group that I want to import my model into in InfraWorks 360, and I hit create model. At that point I just sit back and wait for a minute, or go check some emails, or go get a cup of coffee. In a few minutes I get the magical email that says my InfraWorks model is ready and I'm ready to go. I'm not actually going to create the model because I have one ready to go in the background here, as you can see. So after I get that email, I come back to InfraWorks, and here on the home I'll see a notification under notices, and I'll see the model pop up on the screen, as long as I haven't filtered it out, so be careful of that. Instead of an open model here, I'll see a download model, an arrow pointing downward, and so it'll go through a download process for a little bit of time, and then it'll open the model. And that takes me to this view here. Okay, so I've got my InfraWorks model. It's made entirely of model builder data. It's got roads, it's got buildings, it's got terrain information. Now InfraWorks 360 is the best place to do your preliminary design. So if you're looking to lay out some roads or buildings or parking lots in a preliminary fashion, this is where you need to be. But let's assume for the sake of this video that you need to take this data back to Civil 3D and do some work with it there. So again, I'm interested in pulling this data, or some of the data, into Civil 3D so I can do what I used to do with Google Earth, or what I'm currently doing with just pulling in GIS data from different sources. So now that I'm in the InfraWorks model, there are two things that I need to remember to do. The first is to set the coordinate system, preferably to match what I'm going to be working in Civil 3D. And the second is really easy. I just need to remember to close the model down in InfraWorks. So to set the coordinate system, I'll click Settings and Utilities, and then Model Properties, and then simply go into this area and set the coordinate system to what I want it to be. You can see I've already been here and set it to Virginia 83 South Foot. Once I've done that, I simply close the model, clicking the red X at the top right corner, and I'm ready to switch into Civil 3D and do my thing over there. Now you may be thinking, well, can't I just click the home icon? And remember, in this latest update to InfraWorks 360, you're really just toggling between home view and the model. The model stays open in the background, which lets you switch back and forth very quickly, which is a nice feature, but it also doesn't close the model. So to close that model down, you're either going to have to close the software or open a different model. So now I switch over to Civil 3D, and I'll start a brand new drawing using the Imperial template. And what I want to do again is pull that data from InfraWorks into Civil 3D. So I'll go to my toolbox, and you'll see under Subscription Extension Manager is Productivity Pack 1, and we see a command called Open InfraWorks Model. Now for this to be there, you have to have the latest service pack for Civil 3D 2015, and you also have to have Productivity Pack 1 installed. If those two things haven't happened, you're not going to be able to do what I'm about to show you. I'll right click there and pick Execute. I'll click the browse icon at the top, and I'll go out to where the SQLite file representing my InfraWorks model is stored. Click Open. Civil 3D is going to think for a few seconds, and then it's going to pick up the coordinate system of that model. Now that's the part that won't work if the model is still open in InfraWorks, just to be advised. I also have a coordinate system issue with my current drawing. If you remember, I just opened it fresh from a template, so no coordinate system has been assigned. Luckily, I have a handy button right here. I don't have to back out and go and do it and come back. I can click Select a Coordinate System, and it's even smart enough to say, hey, you probably want to use your InfraWorks coordinate system, so here it is. You want to just use that? Yeah, that's nice and easy. I'll pick that option, and off I go. Now I need to tell Civil 3D what area of my InfraWorks model I want to bring in. The whole thing, which is the default choice extents of InfraWorks model, or do I want to carve out a little piece of it? I want to carve out a little piece because even though the model's pretty large, the area that I actually want to work on designing in Civil 3D is much smaller. And I would say that's probably the typical case. InfraWorks is great at showing things in context, so you want to include all that context, but when you get down into Civil 3D, you're usually wanting to focus on a smaller area. Now here is where I think this command gets really impressive, and I really have to give kudos to our product team and our programmers, because I'm going to click Select Area, and you're going to see some great integration between Civil 3D and the AutoCAD features in InfraWorks, just a whole lot of interoperability between several different products going on here at once. When I clicked that button, Civil 3D automatically turned on the Bing imagery in the background. It automatically figured out my geolocation based on the coordinate system and the location of the extents of the InfraWorks model, and it zoomed me into that area. So just like that, without me really doing anything other than clicking a button, I'm looking at my area of interest from the InfraWorks model. And now all that's left to do is to draw a box to define the data that I want to bring in. And I'll go ahead and click Open Model. And we can watch as Civil 3D imports that data from InfraWorks, brings it in, converts it to Civil 3D objects, puts it in the right place, and when it's all done, we've got some very useful information right here in Civil 3D. Now it didn't bring the imagery in from InfraWorks, but remember that we can capture an area now, and I can just simply draw a box around this region, and now I've got my imagery. I can even turn off the Bing imagery in the background, the live imagery. So I've captured a surface, and I've captured an aerial photo just like I would have in Google Earth, and I've actually got a little bit extra because I've got center lines representing all of my roads. Now one thing I typically do is there are two surfaces in here. One is the existing ground and the other is existing transportation. Usually I'll take the existing transportation and just go into surface properties and set that style to no display, and that kind of leaves me with the nice smooth existing ground surface in the background. And if I just take away the image temporarily, you can see the existing ground contours in the background. Alright, so just like that, we've got a surface in the drawing, we've got an aerial photo in the drawing, and we've got alignments as well. We've accomplished what we used to do with Google Earth import, and actually we got a little more than we would have in those days. Now that's all I'm going to show you for now, but if you watch for the next video, which is going to show you how to get even more out of this, grab those 3D buildings from your InfraWorks model and bring them into the Civil 3D drawing as well.